everyone. Today we have Professor James with us from the University of KwaZulu-Natal School of Education, and she is the academic leader as well as a community engagement academic leader. Today she's going to be walking us through her history, her journey of where she comes from and her upbringing as well, and where she is now, as well as letting us know about community engagement. So today we're with the Siyacobelelana podcast with Professor James. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to do this with you. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. It's so inspirational and it gives back in such a magical way. So thank you so much for that. The first question for you is I want you just to walk us through your upbringing. Tell us about yourself.
So good morning, everybody, and I am so excited about this venture that we within the School of Education, looking at community engagement, and the fact that it's actually being initiated by one of our former PhD students who's also a lecturer within the geography discipline, Zaleka Makaba, who is really, this was her inspirational aspect, and I do want to say and recognize and value the work that she is doing also within the sector of community engagement. And when I think to the importance of community engagement, and we look across various communities and the way in which people relate within these communities, you'll notice that just yesterday we were talking about this as well too, how it is that some communities actually openly support and others do not openly support. And I'm saying that strategically. As a child growing up in a family where my parents or our parents were totally engaged with community work. My father was involved in the Scouts, he was involved in the church, he was involved in the community with the elders, and my mom was so involved with the garden groups, with the women with sewing, and with the church groups. And an important aspect of all of that was that we were also involved in that as well. And they always put us first. And I think an important aspect is also that we had fun times together, we worked together, we played together, and yes, there was friction at times, and it was about how we worked together in all of that. There were happy times, there were sad times. Essentially, it was about the togetherness, and it was really about how we work with communities. And having come from a family of that nature and that type of thinking, every one of us have been involved in our own lives as children now, having grown up, have been involved in various types of activities. So community engagement is something that and like if you're involved and when you're involved in education, the enhancement with communities is essentially important, and also placing children first. So that really is what drives me in terms of what we are doing in community engagement within the School of Education. And when we look at the variety of activities that we are engaged with, it is extensively important that we are looking at it from early childhood, looking at young children, the types of initiatives that we have within that, and also looking at, for example, people who are differently abled, looking at the elderly in the old age homes or the elderly within our own communities and across the board. So when we look at the types of activities that community engagement is working with, really it's within the sector of the school, and it's within the sector of the university. So our communities extend obviously within the university, across all sectors in the university, and also outside the university, across all sectors. So community is a very broad term, and every project and every type of event or activity that we engage with has a particular purpose in mind. And as you can see, even with this podcast, and the series of podcasts, this being the first one, is really going to be focusing on the types of happenings, and I'm going to call it happenings, that we in community engagement are going to be doing, have done, and really it's about saying across our communities, how can we all engage for enhancement with all communities? And that is essentially important ultimately. And within our school, we have a tagline, and in our tagline, the word grow is so important. And we end off with, how can we grow with you? So I think this first podcast is just really quite I would say a splattering of the different things that we are engaged with, and to also invite each and every one of you to make suggestions about the types of activities that we can, I would say happenings again, that we can and we should be further engaged with. And I do want to say thank you to every single person. It is so important that when we interact with anybody, that we see and we value and we feel those people. And I do not mean it in any derogatory sense. I do think that the way in which we engage, how we talk, how we relate, how we even look at a person is really so important. So the engagement is something that we really need to focus on. What does it mean to engage with? And who decides how, why should these engagements actually be taking place? So there are lots of questions and there are perspectives that we have. And the three words that I'm now using is that we learn, we share, and we grow. And it's in that frame that I do want to say thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you can think about other ideas, other suggestions, please post it. Thank you so much.